to describe it, but that sort of, yeah, like a certain element of tension and unsurety, rather, that's the word that I'm looking for. I wanted to sort of preserve that, and I think Steve felt the same. We did a couple of workshops, and he's like, okay, that's enough. You know, let's just wait until, you know, we get to the day of filming.
Any questions? You, sir, there?
Yeah, I'm really interested in that tension between Brandon and Sissy. And for me, I thought there was a sexual tension there. And it was as if they were lovers, but they couldn't go within the act, and I know that may be controversial to say, but I did feel that there was this incestuous element to the film that I really haven't heard or read anything about. Can you speak about that at all? Was that intentional? Can you talk about how they had boundaries, but like very, very loose boundaries?
The question about this viewer, it says he feels there is a strong incestuous undercurrent in the film between the siblings, and was that intentional? And can you talk about the boundaries that they have with each other?
Again, you know, obviously they're of the opposite sex, brother and sister. I mean, obviously the background has something to play in their relationship and in their in their intimacy, and also in their sort of opposite way. They sort of in the sort of how can I say, the sort of the tension as such. There's a background to a certain extent, but it's one of those things where it's in the air. You know, when you meet people and you see something in the air, you see what's going on, but you can't really put your finger on it. It's like a wet piece of soap. You have, it's like this, you know. You have a graph, but no, it's not that. It's, you know, it's constantly moving, constantly adjusting, and that's life, I think. And also, you know, you can smell it, but you can't taste it. You can taste it, you can't smell it. It's there, but it's not there. And that's how I wanted to sort of have that history. The history presented itself in the present in different guises, and I think that's what I wanted, really.
Yes, Jennifer?
Hi. I wonder, there's a very great tension here between inner and outer life, I found in the film. There's a comment about the size of your forehead in the film. I'm wondering whether that there is an extraordinary internal life that's going on. I wonder how you, where you go in there, if you can articulate that. I mean, how does that thought process begin to germinate for you, and where does it take you? And to follow that up, I wonder whether there's also a kind of like a psychological gesture that goes on with you that seems very connected with that. The moment where you start moving your leg, for example. I mean, it's just like, it sizzles. I don't know how to describe it any other way. Sorry, this is taking too long. I mean, my comments take too long. But you also seem to back that up with kind of like a psychological space that seems to. The image-wise, that there's a location that's psychologically connected. The image is connected to what's going on with him internally, and I wonder how that manages to come together so well in the film.
Well, it's partly a question for Michael about how he develops the character's internal life and some of his psychological gestures, and somewhere in there, something about the size of his forehead. And there is and for Steve, how he marries sort of the spaces in the film, the visual plan of the film, to what's going on internally in the characters.
It's very simple. You know, if I'm not saying anything, I am saying something. I mean, my lips just aren't moving. So I've got a dialogue going on all the time. It's like, you know, even if I'm sort of say to you, you know, it's like, hey, where were you last night? But I know that you were somewhere that I didn't like, or whatever. You know, there's a subtext always going on. I might say one thing and mean something else. So in those scenes where I'm not saying anything, I've still got a dialogue going on. It's just my lips aren't moving, and that just keeps sort of me connected to what's going on beat by beat, you know.
And they want the space.
Yeah. But space as it's related to what's going on internally and psychologically with the characters.
I think I got you. Sorry, this microphone, of course. Let's talk about Randy's apartment, then, for example, as far as space is concerned. You know, going to a New York apartment where he can afford, we did a lot of research on that. And what was interesting about that was it's so damn small for the money, but at the same time, you know, this is a guy who hasn't a lot of time to decorate, furnish, or whatever. It's very practical. And what was interesting for me was that a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of people living in Manhattan live and work in the sky. There's some from Europe that's kind of odd. You live and work in the sky. A lot of New Yorkers. And it's not that idea that he's above it all. But at the same time, there's a perspective onto the world. For example, in the office and whatnot. So there's this really strange sort of way of, especially on the widescreen format, where you can always have relationships with not just the actual participant in the film, but also in its surroundings. So you always have that dialogue. You know, 2 and 2 can actually make 4 because it's always in relationship with something else in the frame. And working with those reflections and working with that kind of space, because you know these spaces are very geometrical. It's glass, steel, white wall. It's very cold in a way. And then you can bring a little thing to put on the computer to make it a little bit more homely. But it really is what it is. Quite formal.
Yes, you know.